Hey everyone, a few months ago I simplified my Apple Time Machine backup setup. So I'd like to talk about it in this video and hopefully it will give some of you some inspiration, some ideas as to how you can change your own backup and restore setup. So for those of you who don't know, Time Machine is Apple's backup and restore solution. And for me, it's one of the best features of macOS. So if you do have an Apple Mac, then what you can do is go to Settings, open up the Settings window, go to General, and scroll down, and you'll see Time Machine. Now, the great thing about Time Machine is that it's so easy to set up new Time Machine backups, and you can select what is backed up and what isn't, and you can change the frequency, if it's backed up every hour, every day, or you can set things manually. So yeah, very easy to set up, but it's not just backups. When it comes to restoring, it's very easy to restore and go back to a previous restore point, but you can also go into all of your backups and just pick the files that you need like that and just go back to individual files and do restores like that. Now, obviously Time Machine doesn't back up everything individually. It uses like an incremental backup system, so it saves what's changed and it reduces how much storage you need to save all of those backups. So it works really well and I highly recommend it. Now, although it is really easy to set up, my previous setup was maybe overly complex because what I had was a Mac Mini, an M4 Mac Mini set up with this external SSD enclosure. So I had an SSD in here backing up everything. And then I had the Mac Mini also backing up to my NAS. And it worked great. My Mac Mini through this was backing up my Mac Studio, and it was all backed up to the cloud as well. And it did work really well, but it was overkill. And it was overkill because I have a Synology NAS. I didn't really have to back it up that way. But I would say that if you don't have a dedicated NAS, network attached storage, a Mac Mini is a great solution for that if you want to do something similar. But I did simplify things. I thought it'd be easier to change it up. So what I did was I moved it all over to my Mac Studio. Now the one at the bottom here, that is just an external SSD. I've got that in an external SSD enclosure, and all you do is you just set up that external drive, you do it like that, and you select the SSD, and then you just set that as a Time Machine backup drive, and then set the frequency, and then this is what you get, and then you can just select the files. Now that there is my local backups. That's my local backups of my system. But initially, I did have it set up as hourly backups, but I decided it was overkill. So now I just back that up locally every day. Now I do have a second backup system, and as you can see there, this second backup is to my Synology NAS. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do this video, because I think network attached storage, external drives on your network, it's a great way to back up your system. And it's not just Macs, Linux and Windows as well. It's a great way to back up externally. So you can see here, I've got it backed up to a drive on my Synology DS923 NAS. And it's the same setup. You just add it and you can set the frequency, set what's to be excluded from the backups, etc. Now, you might be wondering, how can you do that? How can you add an external NAS as a backup solution? And in Mac OS, it's really simple. You open up Finder, go to Connect to Server. And then from here, all you have to do is just enter your IP address or enter the local domain of your local network drive. So you could have a USB drive or an enclosure or anything, a flash drive, anything connected to your router or connected to anything on your network, your local network. You just put in the local IP address there or the local domain, and then you can mount it. You might have to enter a username or password if it's password protected. But once you've added it there, it will be available in Finder. So you can see that I've got my Synology NAS there. So this is my network drive. And because it was added there, I could then select my dedicated folder for backups. And you can see here, I've created dedicated folders for my Mac Studio, my Mac Mini, and my MacBook Pro. So I have since sold my Mac Mini, but my MacBook Pro is backing up to my NAS constantly. Whenever it's switched on, it will perform the Time Machine backups. It's the same as this Mac Studio as well. It will back up to the cloud, as you can see there, once a day. I could change it to once an hour. Now, obviously, those backups are a little bit slower than, backing up to an external drive that's connected via Thunderbolt or something. But it's actually not that bad, and the reason it isn't is because of incremental backups. The first time you take a backup, it will take a lot longer to back up to your external network drive, but after that, you're just backing up the differences, and it doesn't take long. It really doesn't. Now, if you're wondering why, go back to my Time Machine backups, if you're wondering why I've set it daily and I don't have daily backups here, it's simple. I didn't use my computer on those days. But it's great because what happens is if I don't use it for a few days and then I switch it on, it knows to then back it up once I turn on the computer. It doesn't wait till midnight. It doesn't wait till a different time. It just knows to go, oh, we've missed a backup, and it will go and then it will make a backup. And you can see that's why these backups are not all at midnight or anything like that. These are all backing up at the time that I switched on the computer. So really, what I'm trying to say is my simple backup setup now is one Time Machine backup to an external SSD and one daily backup to my Synology NAS, a network backup and a local backup. So if my local backup fails, I've got a failsafe and vice versa. And I think that's a really good way to do it. Don't just rely on one SSD working, because SSDs can fail. It's good to have a different failsafe, a different backup solution. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I hope you've enjoyed learning about my new simplified backup setup. It works really well for me, and I don't have an external SSD connected to my MacBook. I'm just using the Synology NAS backup setup on my MacBook. I'm just going through to the Synology NAS, but it works, and it works well with that one because I don't have any important files on that computer. It's all stored on the NAS. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned something. As always, please do leave a comment. I love hearing from all of you. If you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time, take care.